Good evening. I'd like to call to order the May 21st, 2024 Piedmont Community Charter Board of Directors meeting. We're going to start with our mission statement. The mission of Piedmont Community Charter School is a tuition-free K-12 school that offers a superior college preparatory educational option for this community and its families. We'll now take a moment of silence. Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
No.
Thank
you. Also, I need to make a change to the agenda, so we'll need a motion for that. We need to delete the closed session head of school evaluation, and then also move the head of school report to the bottom under the governance committee board action. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion, we cancel the head of school evaluation and move the head of schools to under the governance committee.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, thank you. Okay, awards and recognition.
Well, good evening, everyone. We have some exciting things to celebrate tonight. In the City of Gastonia Art Show, Piedmont 7th grader Landon Robinson won first place and was the overall middle school winner in the City Art Contest with his Freddie Mercury portrait done with pen. 12th grader Emma Langswager won first place and was the overall high school winner for her shiny object study done with colored pencil. Their winning artwork will be on display at the Shield Museum for a year. This is such an impressive display of our student talent and creativity. We are so proud of them. The middle school chorus earned a superior rating at the Carowinds Festival of Music this month. And 8th grade band students Josiah Dover and Lucas Holland were invited to perform with the Charlotte Concert Band as part of Musicians for a Lifetime. We're very proud of them. Piedmont has 6 seniors who by the end of this summer will have earned their associate's degree from Gaston College through Piedmont's College Now program. They are Kayla Bryson, Lyric Brown, Gage Harden, Nathan Turlington, Sabrina Lorca Lozano, and Mackenzie Coulter. Let's give them a hand. Congratulations to the recipients of the PCCS Scholar Athlete Award, Clara Jenkins and Brian Castrillon. This award recognizes 2 outstanding senior athletes who represent Piedmont's portrait of a graduate, acting with honor and integrity, and are academically prepared for college. Clara and Brian each received a $1,500 scholarship to their chosen university. The Ann Beam Morgan Memorial Scholarship was awarded to senior Catherine Green, who will attend UNC Chapel Hill this fall. This is a $1,500 scholarship awarded annually to one student from the graduating class. Catherine's winning essay was selected as the best reflection of Piedmont's portrait of a graduate. And we're extremely proud of these students and happy for them. 241 seats were awarded for the 2024-25 school year after a new record of 1,568 lottery applications were received. And last, our class of 2024 has received $3,700,550 in college scholarship offers.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you. Okay, now we need to approve our previous minutes. They're in your packets if you haven't had a chance to review them. If everyone's okay with that, then we need a motion to approve.
I move to approve the notes from the board meeting on April 23rd.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, they are approved. Okay, so now we'll move to our reports. First up, we have Treasurer and Finance Committee.
Hey there, how are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot to vote. Back up. Back to the meetings. So you made the motion, you seconded?
You're talking about the moving of the,
No, the minutes.
all the minutes. Yeah, I seconded the minutes.
Okay,
That's
and
right.
then all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now it's approved. We did not do that for the agenda.
Right, so you want to go back?
Okay, so we need to go back to the motion. I think, Wendy, you made it to change the agenda. And who seconded?
Rogers.
A couple of
Okay.
us.
And then all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're ready for our treasurer and finance committee.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Malden. So I have a couple of reports to go over, and then we will look at the proposed budget for next year as well. But I'm going to start with the surplus and cash report. It should be in your packets. This is as of April 30th, 2024. Our operating account with Truist, $3,887,875.60. Student activities account with Truist, $128,421.13. Investment account at PNC, $2,685,917.11. Petty cash of $1,000 leaves total cash of $6,703,213.84. Anticipated cash from 6/30/2023 of $6,887,547. Current year budget is surplus $971,052.08. Fund balance appropriations of $1,518,600. Leave expected cash and investments on hand 6/30/2024 $6,339,999.08. Back out our investment account of $2,685,917.11. Leaves expected cash available on 6/30/2024 $3,654,081.97. Our bond funds with U.S. Bank on the far right at ending balance. The first is the bond fund, $804,954.60. Debt service reserve fund of $1,791,029.99. Leaves total bond proceeds held at U.S. Bank, $2,595,984.59. Any questions on the surplus and cash report? All right, next is the budget report. We're going to look at the month-to-date activity. State revenue was $1,443,684.13. Total local revenue, $382,952.53. Total federal revenue, $98,218.49. Total fund balance total fund balance appropriate, $218,274, leaves total revenue of $2,143,129.15. Against total expenses of $1,967,783.45, leaves a net surplus before investment, $175,345.70. The $85,000 loss was from our investment account, $85,576.36. Leaves a net surplus after investment of $89,769.34. Any questions on our budget report for the month of April? All right, I'm going to let Claire go over our 24-25 budget this upcoming year.
So in your packet, you've got a copy of the budget summary for next year. You also have this handout I made is just the slides that I presented to the finance committee last week when I presented this to them. So I've printed them out to go over here. So this first page just goes over the assumptions for our funding projections. So the budget that we present each May is a projected budget in every sense of the word. At this point, we don't know what our per pupil funding will be for our state-based funding, and we also know what our headcount's going to be. We won't know the per pupil funding until mid-July, probably the earliest, and then we won't know our headcount until the 20th day of school. So for the purposes of this budget, I did not factor in any increases in our headcount or our per pupil funding for the year, so we're just basing that on current year state-based funding. Our EC funding is also a per pupil funding model, so we don't know what that per pupil amount will be, but we do know what the initial headcount that's going to be based on, because it's based on our April 1st headcount for our EC students. So there's a slight increase there, so there's a little bit of an increase for our EC funding that I've factored in. There are some state funding that is not going to be recurring next year. The special state reserve, that's $28,931.15. That's something that we apply for typically based on needs for students that come in. So it's a year-by-year thing, so that's not a recurring amount. Like the paid parental leave reimbursement, that's also not a recurring amount, just based on the need based on our employees. So there's a slight increase in our state funding in this projection of $25,617.21. For the local funding, I didn't factor in any changes in the funding from our LEAs, so that's the same. And then the federal funding, that's about the biggest change. You can see a decrease in our federal funding of $600,891.59, and that's because the ESSER grants that are they were three-year grants, those are coming to the end of their life cycle. So we're spending those down this year, and they are not recurring grants after this year. So the next slide just shows our projections versus what our current budget is. So the current year we have revenues of $18,490,319.43. And then the projected revenue for next year, I've got $17,915,045.05. Our current year has expenses of $17,519,267.35. And then for the projection for next year, I've got that at $17,110,949.49. So that brings us, our current year projected surplus is $971,052.08. And the projection for next year, that surplus is $804,095.56. So it's a decrease in our projected surplus for next year of $166,956.52. So just the differences in our revenue from the current year budget to this projection. Our revenue net decrease of $575,274.38, and an expense net decrease of $408,317.86. That brings us again to that net decrease in our projected surplus of $166,956.52. And the next page just goes over our ESSER funding a little more in detail. So again, that's a loss of federal funds of $600,891.59. When we got these grants a few years ago, we planned for this. We knew they wouldn't be recurring after 2024. So the majority of those funds were spent on non-recurring expenses. We have salaries and bonuses of $434,399.20 that is not recurring, and then the associated salary benefits that go with that of $73,689.26. We had, during that period of time, we upgraded our HVAC filters, and that was an additional cost of $11,300. We're going to bump that back down from the MERV 13 filters to the MERV 8 filters. And then we just had some extra in there for custodial supplies for sanitation. This was all obviously COVID related. So total non-recurring expenses, $524,388.46. The recurring expenses that we've spent these ESSER funds on are our iReady subscription, which is how we do our student assessments. That's $42,670. We've also used ESSER funding for our contracted psychiatric services, which is $30,000 a year, and then a portion to offset our contracted speech services, which was $3,833.15. So total recurring costs that we've been using ESSER funds for $76,502.13. And these are all expenses that we had prior to COVID as well. So we're just working those back into our budget. So then I'm just really quickly going to go through each expense line and highlight the ones that have changes. There's only a couple that have changes, or there's 4 that have changes. So line 1, our salaries line, there was a net decrease to our salaries line of $403,163.50. We are renewing all of our contracts at the same rates. There's no increase due to that. We did eliminate the ESSER positions. That was 4 full-time positions and 2 part-time positions. And right now, we do have some open positions, and those all have placeholders in our top pay. So that's how we come to the net decrease of $403,163.50. Line 2 is tied to our salaries line. Normally, we would see that line go down as well when the salary line goes down, primarily because retirement and Social Security are a percentage of the salaries. But our healthcare costs are going up next year. There's a 7% increase in the employer healthcare costs of the state health plan. So that offset, and then some, we have the decrease related to the loss of the decrease in the salary line. So then the next slide, or the next page, line 3, books and supplies, line 4, technology, and line 5, equipment increases. There's no change to those expense lines. Line 6, contracted services, net decrease in that line of $45,500. Our SRO invoices came in a little bit lower this year, $12,000 less than the current year. And also, we had worked in an expense to scan and digitize the student records this year, and that was $33,500. We'll have that again next year. So then, just continuing on with line 7, staff development, line 8, administrative services, and line 9, insurances, no change to those lines. Line 10 is where our debt service is, and there's a very small decrease to that line of $750, and that's just based on our debt amortization schedule. So our interest amounts went down a little bit, the principal payments went up, and the net difference there was a decrease of $750. And then line 11 is our facilities line, and then the net decrease is that $11,300 from the MERV filters, and we're back down to the MERV 8 filters. And then the rest of the lines, line 12, utilities, line 13, nutrition and food, line 14, travel and transportation, line 15, capitalized expenses, and line 16, there's no change to those lines as well. And that brings us to our loan covenants for next year. So our projected cash and investments on hand for the current year is $6,339,999. I've got a fund balance used for this next year of $105,000, and that is for the middle school windows that were approved, I believe, at the last board meeting, the elementary school desks, and then the chairs that are going to go to middle school. Those were approved at the last meeting. So those have been ordered, but they're not going to be in until at least August, September. So that's going to come out of the next year's fund balance. So then you decrease the cash investments on hand by that fund balance used, and then add in the projected surplus of $804,095.56. Gives us a projected cash and investments on hand for June 30th, 2025 of $7,039,095. That gives us a projected debt service coverage requirement of 1.45. And per our loan agreement, that minimum is 1.1. And it also gives us a day's cash on hand, 150.15, and our minimum requirement for our loan agreement is 75. Any questions?
Thank you, Claire. And that will have to be voted on, need approval this evening to move forward. That'll be it for the Finance Committee.
Thank you for laying it out like this. It's very easy to read like that. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? No? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the 24-25 projected budget as presented?
I move that we approve the projected budget for 2024-2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Who seconded that?
Okay, it is passed. Okay, Enrichment Committee?
Well, good evening, everyone. The Enrichment Committee met Tuesday, May the 7th at noon. The committee reviewed the school's equity plan, and the equity plan ensures that teachers are equitably distributed amongst all students. EVOS data is used to determine if teachers do not achieve growth. And for those teachers that do not achieve growth, tools like iReady, mentor support, peer instructional observations, classroom modeling, and administrative walkthroughs and follow-ups are used to assist those teachers. A suggestion came out of committee that one beginner teacher coach be used per campus. We currently have one beginner coach for all 3 campuses, so that was a suggestion from committee. After reviewing the equity plan, we looked over the end of year iReady and NC check-in data. And then finally, we looked at the Teacher Working Conditions North Carolina survey. And this survey was offered to all of the teachers at Piedmont, and they're asked questions, I've got it here, based on school leadership, teacher leadership, managing student conduct, safety and well-being questions are asked, facility and resources, community support and involvement, professional learning and support questions, instructional practices and support, time, equity, and retention questions are asked during this survey. And I just want to point out one of them. First of all, Piedmont scored considerably higher. The teachers scored Piedmont higher compared to the teachers in the state. And for example, school safety issues are addressed quickly. Piedmont teachers rated that at 97.39%, where the state teachers rated that at 87%. And so another example is school leadership. School leadership communicates a clear vision. Piedmont teachers rated that at 93.04%, and the state teachers rates that the school leadership communicates a clear vision at 83.5%. Literally, the only one we did score lower on was reliable internet access. And the school teachers scored that at 85%, and the state was at 89%. So I don't know if that's something that we need to take a look at. And I will end on one of the retention questions was, I am an important part of this school. And teachers at Piedmont rated that at 94%, and the state teachers rated their response at 87% positive. So each and every teacher at Piedmont is extremely important.
Thank you. That's very valuable information. Okay, Athletics Committee.
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
that's right. Good evening. In middle school, we just finished our spring sports season in girls soccer, softball, baseball, and golf. Our student athletes competed hard and represented their school with class. We had 109 student athletes play either one or more sports for the middle school, with 59 of these student athletes being rising ninth graders. We want to thank them for their time and effort they have put into their sport, and we want to wish them much success as they continue to participate in athletics either on the middle school level or high school level. We had our middle school athletic awards banquet on Tuesday, May 7th, where we recognized and honored our student athletes. We gave out participation certificates and individual awards for each sport. We also recognized our all-tournament team selections for our postseason tournaments for the spring. In girls soccer, that was Elena Gaff. In softball, Ezra Lynn. In baseball, Preston Froneberger. And in golf, Parker Wheeler. On Wednesday, May 8th, the high school hosted our annual athletic awards night to honor all high school athletes from the 2023-2024 school year. It was a night filled with recognition and achievements. Among the highlights, as Ms. Killian had said, Lyric Brown was named Athlete of the Year, while Clara Jenkins and Brian Castrillion were honored as Male and Female Scholar Athletes of the Year. Clara and Brian were awarded a $1,500 scholarship to the school of their choice, marking a significant achievement in their academic and athletic endeavors. In our spring sports competition, our men's tennis team represented us very well in the state tournament, advancing to the quarterfinals. Our baseball team clinched the conference championship for the Metro 7 Conference, showcasing their dedication and skill throughout the season. Additionally, our girls' soccer and softball teams secured impressive second-place finishes in the conference standings. Special recognition goes to Jackson Roper, who delivered an outstanding performance in the state 1A golf tournament, finishing tied for 18th out of 92 golfers with an impressive score of 79. So congratulations to all our athletes for their hard work and achievements this season.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, there is no facilities committee report, so that would bring us to our head of school report.
Okay. All right, first we have our compliance submission report. So for the Office of Charter Schools, we did not have to turn in any reports this month. For our bond loans that we upload to Emma, we uploaded our financial, unaudited financial statements, and those are due quarterly. Next, we submitted the statement of the school's student count as of the most recently completed calendar. That's a quarterly report. Statement of student enrollment by grade at the school as of the close of the quarter. And that was submitted. Again, that's quarterly. Written notice of any changes in key personnel. There were no changes. Certificate of a disclosure representative listing any plans to expand the school. There are no plans to expand the school or change the school's organizational structure, and that statement was also submitted on 5/14. Next, we have the enrollment report. As of 5/14, we had 1,878 students. 658 were in the elementary campus. 5th through 8th grade, we had 639 students, and at the high school, 581. And then we mentioned the lottery numbers earlier. We do anticipate being full, and we still have over 1,300 students on the wait list. Next, I have the contracts for the occupational therapist and physical therapist. Pediatric hands-on therapy is the name of the group that we use. Their fees went up about $2.50 per hour for the occupational therapist. This is for next year, and the physical therapist and speech therapist, and they went up $3 to $63 for next year per hour for occupational therapy assistants. For Logan Carter, she is our speech pathologist, and her rate is $67 an hour, and that has not changed. It did not go up. So we are asking for these contracts to be approved.
I make a motion to approve the contracts for the services of occupational physical therapy and speech language pathology as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is
Thank you very much. And next, the last item on my report is employee contracts.
Okay, so we will need to go into closed session for that, which means it would just be the board. So staff reps can leave, but parent reps stay. And I need a motion to do that.
I move that we go into closed session to consider the employee contracts pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A6, to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we would like to reopen our board meeting back to a public session. We need a motion to approve the employee contracts for the 2024-2025 school year that were presented in closed session.
I make a motion that we approve the employee contracts for the 2024-2025 school year that were presented in closed session.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, it is unanimous. Okay, so that wraps up our agenda for today. Our next board meeting will be on June 18th, 2024. Thank you.